Water now. How about that?
How about that?
That was by request, though, Bink.
There's also Little White Castles. I don't know if you saw those. Little White Castles.
I did not notice the sliders were in
awesome.
there. I did not notice the sliders. We also, of course, you can hit us up on the J Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7610. And you can watch us on Facebook. Well, you can watch Drew and I. Bink's camera's not working today, so I'm not sure. Bink, you're not on camera today. Maybe it'll happen at some point, but we'll worry about that during the break. We still have a radio show to do, but we will worry about the video stream during the commercial break. But Bink, eventually you will be on camera at some point today.
That's great.
You know. We're going to also have Matt Verderam join us coming up at 11 o'clock today. Matt Verderam from Sports Illustrated, get his perspective on where things are at in the NFL right now, including the potential for some international games to increase in the league. The expectation is at some point today, the NFL could announce that they're going to start playing games in Brazil. So you could be going to Sao Paulo or whatever. That's where.
Which, by the way, is a long flight.
Not as bad as Rio de Janeiro, though.
But 6 hours shy of that, right?
It's. I think Sao Paulo is like 12-and-a-half or 13-hour flight or something like that.
But it's almost identical to Frankfurt, Germany from Kansas City.
I think that's right.
Go to Sao Paulo. Yeah, it's about within an hour difference.
I think that's right. So we'll get to that later. But it's not very often, Bink, we start the show this time of the year, at least with Royals. But that's what we're going to do today because the Royals made a couple moves yesterday, including landing starting pitcher Seth Lugo on a 3-year, $45 million contract. He has a player option, though, in 2026. The final year does have a player option. And so that part of it, I think, still speaks to the fact that the Royals are basically paying bad team tax a lot of times with free agents. You're either going to overpay with the salary or you're going to overpay with the years or, in this case, giving the extra year but also a player option. Like, that third year probably can only go bad for you. He'll be 36. If he's not performing well, he'll exercise a player option and you'll be stuck with the $15 million. Or, you know, it only benefits him in that scenario. But that's fine because they got better. They got better with their rotation by going out and signing Seth Lugo, who was top 20 in strikeout to walk ratio last year, top 25 ground ball rate. His ERA has been under 3.6 or better the past 3 seasons, and he's coming off a career high in innings. And that's the question is, like, do you have confidence that he is a starting pitcher? I think last year he proved that he's a starting pitcher in this league and can be in this rotation. And so, like, now you're starting to see some things come together. I'm not telling you that this suddenly means the Royals are winning 80 games. Of course not. But moves to make your team better, to make your team more competitive, and that's what this move accomplishes. It. If you look at the rotation that we think they have right now, okay, Cole Reagans, Seth Lugo, Brady Singer, still need to go out and add another pitcher. We can get to how do they do that, but
you'd like to see Brady being your 4.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, Brady as my 3 is okay as well. I think the next move likely has to be via trade, and we can get into the possibilities there in a second. But as far as just adding Seth Lugo, I like the move. Would I have preferred Marcus Stroman or somebody else? Yeah, but you're probably in a scenario where you're overpaying salary and years for those guys.
It's the Gil mesh. We're back to that. 14-50, didn't have to worry about it. But guys just wanted to come here and play. Seth Lugo actually liked this because this is not a guy that's not been good the last year or 2 years. And 3 years ago, he was good because you've seen a lot of that. Seen a lot of that coming to Kansas City. Like, they were once good, but not good now. Seth Lugo.
Bank, that means there could be at least $15 million still to go out and spend this offseason, preferably on a starting pitcher. But I think if you want a pitcher that is going to be a difference maker, that has to be through the trade market. That has to be through the trade market to where you go and you package guys that have been floated out there name-wise, right? There's reports nationally that maybe teams have interest in a Michael Massey or MJ Melendez. Salvador Perez's name obviously comes up, and we know there's connections to a couple teams based off of who's in those organizations. The White Sox, a very popular destination perhaps in terms of people linking the Royals to that organization with the Salvador Perez trade. The Miami Marlins. And you got to find someone that you have a match with for what you want in return. And there's a chance the Marlins might be the best fit for that if you look at some of their young pitching that they have. I still think that's the next move and should be the next move. Trading pieces to go get another starting pitcher. And all of a sudden, you fill out your rotation. If you tell me that Jordan Lyles is my 5th starter, I can live with that a hell of a lot better than what we were doing with last year.
And the other thing is the Royals love the Padres guys. Love Padres guys and Texas Rangers now. Because you notice the Royals, they've hit up 2 relievers from the Texas Rangers. Dayton Moore's down there as assistant GM, but you bring in these guys that won title, Chris Stratton, Will Smith, both of them for the Rangers last year, part of that championship core. So the Royals hitting up familiar teams because we're definitely familiar with Padres guys.
So
Texas has been but even though these guys are free agents, but.
Are you a belief that they can actually better rotation of free agency still, or do you think the next move has to be a trade? Because here's what Vern was saying yesterday. He was on with Carrington. He was on with CDOT on the drive right when the move went down.
JJ, in talking with him last night, he said he expects most of the action to be complete by Christmas. So, yeah, over the next 2 weeks, you would hope that everything is complete, but things are fluid, as you're seeing. Things happening quick over the past 72, 96 hours. Can they go and spend and bring in another $15 million a year free agent starting pitcher? I mean, yeah, sure. Spend all the money. It doesn't bother me. Are they likely to do it that way? I don't think so. All signs point to them acquiring that other starting pitcher via a trade. But we'll see. Maybe it's happening right now while we're talking.
That afternoon. Into an automatic, contention and all of a sudden going to be in the postseason next year. That's not what I'm saying about the Seth Lugo deal. But did they get better with the three moves they have made, the three main moves that they have made? This was the biggest, really, move that J.J. Piccolo's made to date in his time as a general manager, really, was the signing of Seth Lugo. Did they get better? And that is the baby step that you're looking for right now as an organization. And I think the answer is yes, they have gotten better so far this offseason, but they can't be done. Like, this can't, this doesn't move the needle to where fans are suddenly going to be flocking to the K and buying tickets. No, of course not. The only for a stadium. Like, nobody's like, oh man, they showed me enough that I'm going to go vote yes for the stadium because they signed Seth Lugo. Of course not. That probably only exists with an extension for Bobby Wood Jr. at some point this offseason.
Yeah, making a commitment to Bobby Wood Jr. is what, and he's due for one. I mean, you look at every other player right around him, he's already got the extension. The young players, the young core. But this is a big year for the Royals. And it's about getting the fan base to buy back into what they're doing. Yeah, Seth Lugo is fine. That's great. But there's a lot of people that are waking up saying, okay, is that Seth Lugo? Okay. For sports fans, whatever, you're like, oh, this guy's got a nasty curveball, one of the best curveballs in the game. You're thinking, okay, this guy can do it. Look at his ERA. It's been under 3.6 for the last 3 years.
Yeah, he's like the Padres.
In Stratton's, Will Smith had good years, and Will Smith's been on back-to-back-to-back world champions series. I think, okay, they're making some moves here, but does it ignite the fan base? Does it excite the fan? Done. That is how they should have hammered it. That is what should have had his extension. There's no new taxes. I'd put something out there like the old days. No new taxes. I mean, it was something simple for the fan base and not to worry about it, but they mismanaged this whole thing. Then all of a sudden Jackson County goes out and raises property taxes. Bad timing for this whole deal. Now it's time to heal the wounds. Now it's time to heal the wounds because people want to support the Royals. People like the Royals. And I know the Royals have been down, and right now they've focused all their attention, their dollars, and they're traveling and watching the Chiefs, and that's really all they care about at this point. And I've always thought this town, for about the last 30 years, has been a football town. And that's coincided with the Kansas State, Missouri, and KU, and, of course, the Kansas City. But for 14 and 15, it became a baseball town. It became every night. It was Kansas City Royals. And, man, this town would have done anything.
Again, I really only think there's one move that does that. I don't think realistically there's any move other than an extension for Bobby Wood Jr. that actually changes anything from the stadium conversation. But we did say this is one of, if not the most important offseason for the Royals organization if you couple it with the stadium conversation. And, I mean, 106 – this team is coming off 106 losses, for crying out loud. in terms of improving your roster, improving your pitching. I mean, it had to be done, and this is a step. It's hopefully not the last one to improving the team in 2024. We'll talk more Royals baseball in the 11 o'clock hour because there's a familiar name that says he still wants to play baseball in 2024, and I don't believe that that's something the Royals should entertain whatsoever. So we'll get to that coming up in the 11 o'clock hour. But Travis Kelce had his New Heights podcast episode come out today. I'll play you a clip of that in a second. But Shannon Sharp was talking about Travis Kelce the other day as well, and how guys on each team in sports have different roles, leadership roles. Who's going to be the good guy, the bad guy, the outspoken guy? We've talked a ton about, hey, are they missing Eric Bieniemy from he be the hard ass in the room kind of thing with some of the mental mistakes that are happening? That's come up a lot over the last month or so. So Shannon Sharp was speaking out yesterday and suggested that, hey, it can't really be Patrick Mahomes. He thinks it has to be Travis Kelce.
I'm gonna put this on Travis Kelce because when I was playing and guys would drop passes or do something, I would make light of the situation. Hell, my sister could have caught that one. Mm-hmm. My granny could have got in and out of that break a lot quicker than what you did. I'm gonna make light of the situation. Here we out there, we running around like a fire drill. We lining up off sides. So I'm making light of a situation because I knew John wasn't going to do that. So now that's where I step in, being a leader, and make sure myself, Rod, Ed, all the Willie Green, everybody else is going to be held accountable because I'm going to say what Seven wouldn't, what John Elway wouldn't. That's right. My job. So if I'm Travis Kelce, I get the guys together, we watch a little tape, I'm going to make light of the situation. I'm like, well, damn, did you have your eyes closed on that one, cuz? I'm gonna make light of it, and they're gonna get the point without me beating them down. I think the thing with Patrick Mahomes, if he were to do this publicly, I agree with you, Saturday, it's gonna even take more of their confidence. And what I want to do is I want to make light of a situation and try to. Now, we know in order for them to get to ultimately where they want to. Kelce, I take that onus off Patrick Mahomes, and I'm going to make light of a situation. I'm going to get the guys together and say we've got to be better in order for us to reach our final destination.
Well, what do you make of that? That was interesting to me. That's a Hall of Fame tied in, talking about, being a leader and saying, hey, that shouldn't be Mahomes in this spot. He doesn't think. He thinks that from Travis Kelce, he can be I won't even say like the hard ass, because he's saying, hey, you still kind of joke about it because you need to build these guys up and still prop them up a little bit.
Like E.F. Hutton, when he speaks, you listen. And with Mahomes being a two-time MVP in the NFL, two-time Super Bowl MVP, yeah, listen to Mahomes. Kelce just can't all of a sudden be the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? He jokes around with a lot of the guys, but you know what he did? We did see some more serious side of Travis Kelce, didn't you, at training camp? I mean, he got in skirmishes. He's probably gotten more fights than anybody up in training camp this year. Was it more of an edgy Travis Kelce there?
I think he just more. I still think was just annoyed than anything else. Guys
because his defense is trying to take away the football. Yeah. We appreciate that.
Yeah, which turned out to be a good thing, huh?
There is something to say, though. I think joking matter, but that it's a really serious thing because Mahomes has always kind of been that guy to, the rah-rah guy, get everybody fired up. Everybody huddles around him. Kelce maybe talks a little bit before the game to get everybody fired up. But if Travis does it, I can see Shannon Sharp's point of view that he should be the guy because while he's good with everybody and he's the fun guy, but when he gets serious, that's where you really need to, I guess, turn your ears up a little bit more and pay attention.
I think they really only have three guys that can do this: Mahomes, Kelce, and Chris Jones. I think those are the only three guys that can kind of say, all right, guys, have the team meeting and go forward. Because Kelce, Mahomes, you think about these guys, like Kelce, a lot of people don't even realize he has 80 receptions now. History of the National Football League, there's only 4 guys to have 8 straight seasons of 80 catches. 4 in the history of this game. Torrey Holt, Marvin Harrison, Jerry Rice, Travis Kelce. Because he just hit this mark.
Yeah,
this
I don't think anybody's questioning the legacy of Kelce.
All-time great. And 2 of those, and all those are receivers, but tight ends. So all-time greats can say whatever the hell they want.
Absolutely.
They just can't do it. But I think there's 3 guys that can really do this for the Chiefs. And yeah, if they're joke around guys, because all of them are people guys. I mean, people love playing for the Chiefs because these guys are all like that. Like Mahomes plays video games with guys, and Kelsey, has fun and laughs with them. But there's 3 guys that can sit this team down and everybody listen. I think they lost that in Bieniemy. That's one thing I think they lost in Bieniemy is having that hard ass.
I think that's more than fair. Now, Travis Kelce on his podcast that came out today, New Heights, him and his brother, we all know. I think he told us, though, in this clip, basically how he is approaching things. If you were thinking he was going to be the guy that's going to go yell, I don't think that's happening. Just listen to how he talks about this lateral play, number one, and then later on he talks about Kadarius Toney and how he was talking to him the other day.
Have you ever thrown that far of a lateral?
No.
You just whipped that out on the spot.
On the spot.
It was like a perfect spiral. Like, how did you go from having it tucked to throwing a perfect spiral that fast?
Dude, it was such a bang, bang. Like, I caught it, turned upfield, saw the single high safety coming down, knew I had broke the contain angle of the guy chasing me. When I made the safety that was coming down to try and tackle, when I broke his angle, I knew it was 2-on-1. I know KT was over there from the route he ran, saw him out of the corner of my eye in a lateral position, in a position where I knew if I could get him the ball, I knew he had space to score a touchdown.
What did Andy say when you got to the sideline?
I didn't talk to Coach Reed.
You didn't talk to him?
Dude, in retrospect, could you imagine
if that didn't work?
If that got tipped.
No.
I could see Coach Reed just in my head. Come here.
That is not something you see every day. Insane creativity.
I went up to KT today, man. And I told him, I was like, man, we had that place rocking. I was like, hey, man, we just gonna have to do it again, big dog. I love KT. If we get the opportunity again, I'm going to throw that shit right into his chest again. He's one of the best players we got with the ball in his hands. You turn on the film, you watch what he does when the ball's in his hands. Everybody hating on KT right now, you can miss me with it. I'm trusting in 1-9 every time he's out there on the field.
There you go. I mean, that's why I thought it was interesting what Shannon Sharp said, because that last, 10 seconds of that clip tells you how Travis Kelce's approaching it. He's propping up his guy, Kadarius Toney. He's going to support his teammate. He's telling him, hey, I'm going to throw that thing right back to you. And they need him because of the explosive nature in this offense. And I think that is how, clearly with the playing time, they continue to feel inside the building. So I don't think there is, you can say they're missing EB, and I agree to a certain extent. I don't think that guy, even if Shannon thinks it should, I don't believe that's Kelce. He's just he's gonna prop everybody up. Nobody's gonna start arguing with each other, because I don't know what good that really does. I'll be honest, on Sunday afternoon, would I have enjoyed a teammate yelling at Toney? Yeah, just as a fan, sure. But in the locker room, I don't think that does them any good at this point.
Well, the thing is, all human beings are different. I mean, they just are. I mean, just in any office around the city, people react differently. Like, some people need that kick in the ass. They do. And then they're productive. Some people get offended when you do that. And you start yelling at them, and they take offense to it, and you're not going to get productivity from them. They're going to go the opposite direction. Like, every individual's different.
Yeah, some people will shut down.
Like,
right?
some people will shut down. Like, you yell at somebody, and it's Travis Kelce just yelled at me, and they're just down. But yet, if some people need that, like, some people need that kick in the pants, like, they need that aggression, they need that but everybody responds differently. So I think you have to look at individuals. Like, Toney strikes me as a guy that needs positivity, because if you come down on him, he might shut down even more. Like, he strikes me as that kind of guy. But everybody's different.
I just think there's a way that you say it, though. Like, everybody's different, but like my mom would always say, it doesn't matter. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Like, if you know Kadarius Toney is going to get more offended, there's a way that you can still go about saying, you need to wake the hell up, dude, while also not totally destroying his self-esteem, if you will, if you know what I'm saying. Like, there's a way to, dude, we believe in you, we need you, man. Like, you're very important to us. So, like, there's a way to say it, I think, where you can still get into him a little bit without totally shut him.
No doubt. I think there is truth to what Kelce's saying also, which is, like, watch what happens when the ball is in his hands. And I
He's cost his team 2 games.
Absolutely, right. And that's unacceptable. But do I still think, if you tell me in the playoffs, if this team is going to have an explosive play, and I'm making the list of who's most likely to have an explosive play, it's Kelce, obviously, Mahomes, and Rashee Rice, and then it's Toney. As far as, like, who's most likely to have you would like to have said, oh, deep threat MVS, but that guy's just not doing anything this year. Kadarius Toney still gives them, if they get the ball in his hand, the chance to have a 10-yard play become a 60-yarder. Now, we haven't seen it this year.
Just don't force it. I mean, here's the thing. You don't force it. The Chiefs have got to this point, too, where they don't need things like other teams do. That's the other thing, too, when you look at this team. They've been to 5 straight AFC title games. They've been to Super Bowl 3 of the last 4 years. They don't need the same treatment as, like, the Cardinals do. Or like the Lions, going up, and now all of a sudden you got to get this stuff in gear because they had that bad loss to the Bears. Like, that team probably needs it more. The Chiefs don't. Like, their culture is successful. Their culture is about winning. Their culture is not about getting down on each other because that's what's made the Chiefs good is they're a cohesive unit. Now, Andy Reid does strike fear in these guys. Now, we look as a happy-lucky guy that likes cheeseburgers and all this, but they're fearful of Andy Reid getting in his bad side and getting in his doghouse. Like, he looks like funny, laughable Andy Reid. Give me the do it again with the nuggies type thing at commercials. But that ain't who he is, man. I mean, this guy could be as serious as a heart attack.
Well, the beginning of the clip we played there from Travis Kelce, and when he's talking with his brother about the lateral, and then Jason's like, did you talk to Andy after?
Yeah, it's like a minute 15 on the clock and 2 timeouts.
I mean, but everything they said about the perfect spiral, that's why people are also extra bummed out with just not only the loss.
But he's had some crappy passes when he's played quarterback.
Yeah,
I mean,
but not on the lateral. I mean,
done.
People forget he had a lateral against the Lions a couple of years ago. Very similar play. It just was at a different moment of the game.
I'm glad Tony didn't give up on the play because he looked pissed.
I think
when
he
didn't
did
get the ball from
I actually
Mahomes.
think he did kind of give up on the play. That's why he was so wide open on the bottom of the
That's why
screen. I think he did give up on the play.
I'll tell you this much: the Bills gave up gardening because they all went to Kelce. Like as soon as he was throwing it, he did look frustrated. He didn't get the football. But the bottom line is defensive backs, they got off of him to go to Kelce, and that's what they did. And they left Tony wide open. And why wouldn't you do it? Because you're more fearful of Kelce, obviously.
Do you think we see?
Kadarius Toney.
Do you think we see at some point in the playoffs? Because I don't think he's not like he's going to do it next game. Do we think we see a lateral one more time this year now?
Like an actual designed play, not one where
it can't be designed. It can't be designed.
Practice all the time. Though. They do that all the time.
But they're not designing a play for it. This isn't Boise State.
Like a hook and ladder?
This isn't Boise State against Oklahoma.
They probably have that in there for like final plays of the game or something. That wasn't the final play of the game.
But the reason why that was so epic, if it would have counted, is because it was improvised. It wasn't a design play. Clearly was not. It was off script exactly. That's why it was so special and like, oh my God, it's going to go down as a legendary play. There'll be some other opportunity at some point, but it was a perfect situation. You know how ballsy that was to do? And then let alone if you're going to do it in a playoff game at some point.
Because it was almost like a final play of the game, but it clearly wasn't. It's still a minute 15, 2 timeouts. They weren't Harrison Butker range to tie the game up. I mean, that's what made it so special because it did not have to be that play.
Yeah, it doubled up on the lateral that Brian Cook had it and took it to the house in Germany. It was a similar situation, if you will.
And that won the game.
All right, coming up next here, we're just getting started. It's Cody and Gold. Jay Binkley's in for Cody today. We're streaming up on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch as well. Bink says it's wide receiver and nothing else. He'll explain next.
Cody and Gold on 610 Sports Radio, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
Centric is always training for the technology of today, and AI is no exception.
Gold, I got sucked into the Chat GPT game because I'm interested in it. And it's great when these companies like Centric immediately know that AI is important and you want to start learning it.
You can amplify your skills over at Centric when it comes to AI, critical thinking, prompt generating, refined messaging, all part of the curriculum.
Don't miss out on an incredible career in IT and a budding industry like AI. Go to Centric.com/610, talk to our guy Russ Mondry, and tell him that Cody and Gold sent you.
Last year, other dealers were charging up to $10,000 over MSRP, but those cars haven't held their value. I'm Jeff Davis, owner of Volkswagen Lease Summit. If your car is worth a lot less money than you bought it for, exchange it.
Is your car payment too much? Exchange it. Change it. Want a lower price? You guessed it. Exchange your vehicle at Volkswagen Lease Summit today. We're offering rates as low as 2.99% APR.
And seasonings made with fresh, savory ingredients, and it's gluten-free. Prepare your meats, potatoes, and vegetables with Gates sauces and seasonings while watching the game or relaxing. Sprinkle Gates seasonings on your favorite snack like a bowl of popcorn. Your taste buds will thank you. Buy Gates, available at your local grocer or online at gatesbbq.com. Gates, 75 years serving Kansas City.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Fill your game day cooler with the refreshing taste of Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Smooth, real brewed tea with a 5% kick of alcohol. Look for the bright yellow cans. Twisted Tea. Keep it twisted.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly. For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Do you have a game plan for COVID-19? Prescription oral treatments must be taken within the first 5 days of symptoms, even if mild. If you have a high risk factor, ask your doctor if treatment is right for you. Visit treatcovid19.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This holiday season, find all kinds of deals at Target. Discover sweet deals on toys and small appliances, big deals on clothing and beauty, plus so much more. At Target, get what you need for the holidays. Find new deals each week for everyone on your list and get it all fast with free drive up. Score low prices and great deals all season long. Now at Target. Exclusions apply.
Save big every day during Lowe's 25 Days of Deals. Save $100 on select master-built smokers for the grill enthusiast in your life. Plus, get up to 55% off select smart home gifts for everyone on your list. Order eligible in-stock items by 2 p.m. to get same-day delivery. Lowe's knows deals every day. Valid through 12/13 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. Delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket, just like our customer Jaron.
I'm the singer and guitarist in a band, and I use my Cricket phone for everything. It's basically like another band member.
Don't miss a single beat. Switch today and get a free Samsung Galaxy A14 5G. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Real customer paid for testimonial. Must bring your number to Cricket on up to a $60 a month voice. Select models only while supplies last. First month service charge and tax due at sale. Cricket 5G requires a compatible device and is not available everywhere. Fees, terms, and restrictions apply. See store for details.
It's Macy's Great Gift Sale. Take an extra 20% off gift ideas from designers they'll love with your coupon or Macy's card. That's on top of great deals on women's sweaters, coats, and PJs, 25 to 50% off. Beauty essentials from Origins, Elizabeth Arden, and more, 25 to 40% off. And the season's hottest toys, 15 to 50% off. Plus, everyone gets $10 Macy's money for every $50 spent. Now at Macy's. Savings off sale and clearance prices, exclusions apply.
No matter where you are, 610 Sports Radio is one click away. Listen to all our shows live and on demand, and catch live play-by-play for the Royals and Kansas State Athletics. The biggest names in KC sports all live right here.
Right now, we're talking to the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes.
Your home for Royals baseball and your official broadcast partners of the Kansas City Chiefs. 610 Sports Radio. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Download it today.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Max Motors. 9 major vehicle brands to choose from. MaxMotors.com. It's trade-up days and year-end clearance at Max Motors.
Worth a drive from anywhere.
Get 130% over book value for your trade. Plus huge savings on all new and pre-owned vehicles in stock. No payments for 90 days. That's March of 2024.
Shop 24/7 at MaxMotors.com.
Even on my darkest days, I get knocked down, but I just keep my head up high, high, high.
Back here, Cody and Gold, just getting started on a Wednesday. Alex Gold, Jay Binkley, Drew Nixon with you. Reminder coming up around 11:45. We head out to Arrowhead, going to hear from Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, as well as Chris Jones as the Chiefs get set to take on the Patriots. Remember, that was a Monday Night Football game. It's been flexed a couple weeks ago. Now it's just going to be a noon game, which is perfectly fine, I think, for everybody involved, that's a noon game. I saw James Palmer was putting out the last time the Chiefs and Patriots played in like a noon window was the game in which Bernard Pollard, right, had the hit on Tom Brady.
It was the beginning of the Matt Castle era. They ended up getting 11 wins, the Patriots, but they didn't make the playoffs. They ended up with 11 wins that year, but didn't make the playoffs. But this is great for the Chiefs. I mean, having an extra 36 hours, even though it still is less rest than the Raiders because they play on Thursday night, it's better than 36 hours difference that would have been.
Yeah, I think everybody's fine with it being flexed to the noon window, and also it's probably just better for everybody that is watching football this weekend in general. Like, we always complain here a lot of times about how bad primetime games are. This would have fit into that same category with Bailey Zappi being in a primetime game in back-to-back weeks. Remember, he was just on Thursday Night Football. He would have had primetime games in 2 straight weeks. Patriots, of course, are coming off of a win against the Steelers. Later on in the week, you have your new mock draft out. We're going to get to that from the Character Concerns crew, you and Chris Cero during the Chiefs Red Half Hour around 11:30 or so. But you've been diving into historical numbers on wide receivers being drafted, all that. You said it's wide receiver or nothing else at this point in the first round.
Yeah, I do. The record is 7-4. I think we top it this year, but the wide receivers are going to be plentiful for the Chiefs, whether they pick at 32 or whether they pick at 25. That a lot of people have them picking it now because they have them exiting early in the playoffs. But it's wide receiver or nothing. And, I was looking at Chad Reuter from NFL.com, and I like Chad Reuter. I mean, he's been on the show before. He's a great draft analyst for NFL.com. But he had wide receiver as the third position because he still had offensive line, which, by the way, Kanye Morris is so critical in his development for the Chiefs that they do not have to spend a first-round pick. Like, that's now, my favorite rookie on this team has been Shamari Connor.
More than Rice.
Huh?
More than Rashee Rice? Connor's your favorite rookie?
Well, when he was drafted, it was Shamari Connor.
Okay.
Great. He's third in rookie receptions. That's great. Well, Kanye Morris is the most important. There's no question about it. Like his development. Andy Reid trusted him at left tackle because keep in mind, when he was at Tennessee, but his development and Andy Reid's trust in him, because Andy Reid doesn't trust 2 positions, left tackle and backup quarterback. And again, all the backup quarterbacks have experience. They're not always the greatest. They're not the greatest of players. They're facilitators. Like Chad Henne going 98 yards. That's all he wants. He doesn't care about, like Shane Buechele. People want to see Shane. It's not about his development. Shane Buechele was never going to be a Chief starter. It didn't matter how much he developed because it wasn't going to happen. He likes the Chad Hennes. He likes the Nick Foles. He likes guys like that being the backup for the Chiefs in case they have to go in and lead a drive. But left tackle too, man. That left tackle position is so important and so much trust in Mahomes or to block from Mahomes, and he's got that with Wanye. But wide receiver, I mean, there's no excuse for it other than this year. This is a wide receiver draft. It's going to have the most. It's going to be the position that has the most guys drafted. And we're not talking, 5'8" and 5'9" guys trying to figure out, or like a Quentin Johnson, can he catch the football or not in the first round, or is he going to go too early? There's none of that. These for receiver, these guys catch the football, but this is a year, should be nothing else. This is wide receiver in the first round, period.
Yeah, so I think that's what every fan wants, and I think for obvious reasons, looking at this wide receiver room, and they absolutely have to attack wide receiver in the offseason. I think they can do that in free agency as well and will. I don't know if you can say 100% that that's what they're going to do. There have been plenty of years where we've discussed this position is the biggest need, and then they draft a different position. It also depends on where they finish. Are they an early playoff exit and they're picking at 24? Or are they going to an AFC title game and picking 28?
Which this year I don't think matters. This year, I don't think matters. There's
So you
enough
don't
quality
think
wide
there's-
receivers in the first round that
You think at let's say 32.
they might only have to jump up 2 spots. I mean, who knows? It's not like a bunch of spots to jump.
They struggled to trade up last year. Teams usually won't trade up. Remember, the teams aren't trading with them. That's the struggle. Like
And we'll take the call.
I want them to draft a wide receiver in the first round as well. 100% with you. I don't know if it's 100%.
It is time for skill positions.
I'm not disagreeing.
No, I know
with
you
that-
are. I'm just saying.
I'm not disagreeing with you that that's what I want them to do.
But
That's what they should do.
The public was good with it. Hey, Mahomes could take any receiver and make him great. That was the public sentiment. When I had this feeling last year at the draft, that's what I got. That was the feedback I got back is, Mahomes could take anybody and make him a star. Really?
Yeah, I think a lot of it's going to depend on what they do in free agency, too. I mean, if they go out and they sign a T. Higgins type, I think there's a little less pressure to go have to go take a wide receiver in round 1. I know what fans want. Fans want them to take 3 straight wide receivers, and I get it. Look at this wide receiver room, and it's pathetic.
I want 3 straight pass catchers.
Sure.
Kincaid I like the most, but Kincaid and Laporta have more catches than Rice, but just receiver-wise, Rice is third.
We'll find out what your mock, you and Chris and Osara, you guys did a full first-round mock. I haven't seen it. I purposely didn't want to take a look at it until we get to it.
We got to listen to it.
Yeah.
It's all audio.
Well, but that's what I mean.
I
We'll
know
take
it.
a look at it. That's coming up at around 11:30 or so, because I do, as someone even mentioned on the text line, the wide receiver out of Washington is probably the one that I like the most because I think he's realistic.
They got 3.
Like Marvin Harrison Jr. is a waste of our time to talk about in Kansas City. The Chiefs, spoiler, are not going to have a top 5 pick, and they're not trading up to top 5. So I don't want to waste my time talking about him. Obviously, he would be my first choice. But I think if we're being realistic, the Romy kid out there in Washington, who might be Chris Olave Jr.
And I think the biggest concern this year is the amount of teams that have 2 receivers or 3. Like Washington's got Odunze, they got Jalen Polk, Jalen McMillan, and Igbuka and Marvin Harrison Jr. at Ohio State. So you got to wonder, like, who they putting the best corner on? Like when LSU, did they take Brian Thomas or did they take Malik Neighbors? Who was Kool-Aid McKinstry on the most, the best corner out there? Who guarded who? And sometimes you got to be cautious of it because they're not garnering top corner because a lot of teams don't have first-round corners, 2 of them. They don't. So who they putting their best corner on, that dictates a lot of the action. But sometimes you don't want to get too enamored in that because don't forget LSU had Justin Jefferson as the number 2 and Jamar Chase was the number 1. So sometimes that doesn't matter.
Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated going to join us in 20 minutes. Want to get his perspective on the AFC and where things are situated and how he looked at the reaction the rest of the league. And really, I would just think the rest of the NFL world had to what happened and how the Chiefs reacted after the Bills game. So we'll get a national perspective from Ram. We also, at some point today, are going to get official word from the NFL. Big international games, if you hate them, you're going to continue to hate them because there's only going to be more of them. And that's the expectation today. The NFC team would be the home team. And the NFL, we know, is serious about these international games. And the thought is that they're going to vote and where teams could soon be required to play one international home game every 4 years. Now, I don't know if this really matters for the Chiefs because with how successful the Germany first go was, and the Chiefs are all in Germany, and Clark Hunt's been very supportive on the international side of things anyway. I feel like they would already almost be doing that at this point going forward anyway. So I don't really care that it's going to be that, but we're looking at maybe having 9 international games every single season.
And the Chiefs are on that committee for international games. See, they're going to play. The rule now is at least 1 out of every 8 years, but as you say, they're going to make it 1 out of every 4 years that you have your home game. They're doing the marketing where different NFL teams have certain areas that you market. This is what the NFL is coming to. This is why the NFL continues to make billions of dollars. This is why it's so ridiculous that the 17 officiating crews aren't full-time. And they're working as ADs and basketball coaches and lawyers and sales managers and nonprofit CEOs instead of full-time jobs. The more they expand, the more it pisses me off that they're not full-time, honestly, because they're just bringing in more money. And that says, okay, Clete Blakeman, Brad Allen, Carl Cheffers, full-time, man. Either take it full time or leave.
I think that right
take
there,
it
though,
or
is
leave, because billions keep coming in, and come on, man.
Yeah, I think not only the full-time job part of it, but what you just said, how you were – now you're –
This needs to be first over international.
The fact that you just rattled off all these official names. And I don't know, like I think a lot of us know the names of the officials, but you just rattled them off with ease. My point, household names is also a problem. Yeah. It speaks to, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're household name. They have been for a while. I mean, go back to Ed Hockley as well. I mean, but the fact
the
that
pipes, the muscles.
Well, I think that's problematic. Like, I know you can't make, it's not like we can have these officials being anonymous. It's just in today's day and age. But like, I think that's a problem too, though. That speaks to an NFL fan, a sports fan, should honestly not be able to just rattle off the names of all these officials. What I mean by that is that's how much focus we have on them now because of mistakes.
John
that
Hussey,
we all know.
Alex
we all
Camp.
know we know who all these guys are.
Yeah,
like I actually that's a problem. On top of the fact that, as you said, they're making full-time money. These guys are making like $200K, I think, is up to $200K.
And a lot of them are making more. Guys like Hussey that have been doing it for 9 years.
So they're making like at minimum $200K, and it's not their full-time job. That's nuts.
Remember when everybody wanted these guys back? Remember when they went on strike and everybody wanted these guys back? As soon as they get back, it's like we're back to complaining about them. But, you know, the whole nonprofit CEO like Brad Allen that we've had a problem with, and Adam Schefter's been writing about Brad Allen because he's been terrible as an official. But accountability for these guys. Now, keep in mind, some officials are full-time, but not the leaders of the crew, not the 17 leaders of the crew. And that's a problem. They should be, but and I know this is a separate issue, kind of, but this should be first and foremost for the NFL because they've been talking about this. And an executive told Florio, hey, the NFL's got to get control of this officiating. This needs to be first at the owners' meetings. And I understand, putting a game in Brazil, that's great. But again, that brings in money. Well, I keep hearing about all this money coming in. Fix your problem you have. This is a billion-dollar industry. Gamblers are sitting there, okay, did he check with the line official? Right? People want to know that about Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, no, I think the sports betting point is more than fair. We brought that up because when you're now in bed with sports betting companies after many, many years where you were against players even taking part in a fantasy football convention in Las Vegas, and now you got a team in Vegas, and now you've got teams that are having deals with BetMGM and DraftKings, you name whoever the company is, and it's everywhere on these broadcasts, and it's only going to increase pregame shows now, all included. If you look on the CBS Sport, I mean, they had Phil Simms handing out his favorite bet for crying out loud during the pregame show from FanDuel. I mean, that just tells you how things have changed.
Was it Tony Romo that wasn't able to do that?
Yeah, the Vegas Fantasy Football Convention was definitely that. I think that is – like that right there tells you things have changed, and any ounce of questioning the integrity of the game, that's the biggest fear that the NFL should have. The fact that anybody believes, and plenty of people texting it all the time, right, that like, oh, it's rigged and all this. We hear that all the time in sports, it's rigged. But now that you have these relationships with sports betting companies, it is more important than ever to make sure that you don't have that perception. That's why they've come down hard on these players with suspensions that have been betting in the facilities and things like that, because you cannot have anybody on a regular basis believing that the game is completely rigged. And there's always going to be people that think something's rigged or conspiracy theory. That's never going away now more than ever. But like it is so important, and the officiating is a huge aspect of that. But the international markets and why they're expanding, yeah, of course it's money. They've kind of tapped out in some ways the North American market. Sports betting was the last big revenue bump that they got, right? They added the Thursday games. Yeah, they added a Black Friday game as well, which is more revenue. But the sports betting part was
Saturday.
Yeah, but what's next? How do you continue to increase your billions of dollars in revenue? Yeah, it's expanding. It's going international. It's why a lot of people still believe in the next 15 years that you could end up having multiple teams and everybody would spend 2 weeks overseas rotating, playing two opponents or whatever. There's been a lot of theories of should they have like an international week, Bink, where you just know for 1 week everybody plays the international game that 1 week, and then everybody gets the bye. Like everybody would take a week off, but you would have 1 week where it's just everybody's playing in Brazil or Germany or in Europe, in the UK, or wherever.
And my whole dream of them taking a stadium series and make it
That's
a big
right.
deal.
You want the
so
college
the fan
thing,
base can
though.
go act like college fans on Friday and Saturday and party on. Take Chiefs Kingdom down to Tuscaloosa, for a weekend and play these games on college campuses because you're not losing attendance. Matter of fact, you're getting more attendance.
But I don't think that's
than a lot of
expanding the
NFL
game,
stadiums.
though. Like that's the thing.
Well,
I don't
you
think
have
that's,
that with the international games, but put some of these games in college campuses.
I mean, I know why you want it. I get it. And you're a huge college football guy, and that if you live in Alabama, that would be unique to be able to experience that. But that's not expanding the game the way all of a sudden having a game in Brazil or a game in Germany is. And that's what it's about.
You can still have those, but just take the one.
Well, then you're talking about taking even more home games. That's even worse. People are upset already that they're losing a
That's
home
why they
game.
added 17. That's why they have the 17th game for crap. Like you knew this was going to happen.
Already for
But
international.
they said this in the beginning when they went to 17 games. They said, "Be prepared to play internationally. Everybody,
Internationally,
be prepared."
I think people are now at least coming around slightly, like understanding, like this is the way it's going to be. They're going to play international games. But what you're saying, you want to now have international games, and you want to be playing in random college town. That's taking another home game away from Chiefs season ticket holders.
Or the Bills, they didn't even take a bye week when they played
They had a
internationally
choice. That was
this
their
year.
decision.
Like
Teams can
they
choose
made that
now.
decision. They made the decision not to do it. But if they went to Atlanta to play, they went to Athens to play, they went somewhere else, it would be much different than playing road games. I'm just saying, add this one in. Still play the international, that's fine, but add the stadium series.
I feel like you want to expand the fan base, though, because there's not going to be many Alabama fans going to see the Chiefs play the Falcons in Tuscaloosa. It's just not going to happen. You're gonna.
I don't doubt that they would sell it out. Actually, I agree with Bink. They'd sell it out. I'm just saying I don't think it expands the game. They would sell it out.
What about the Chiefs playing in Manhattan against the Broncos?
Why? Makes no sense, Bink. Just play in Denver or Kansas City. Why would you play in Manhattan and NFL?
Or Norman, Oklahoma.
Like you wouldn't have Alabama football fans at a Chiefs Falcons game because Alabama is there, and that's their NFL team.
But there's
They
enough
don't
Alabama.
care.
Bink on playing in the college town. Could they fill the stadium? That's not even up there.
I'm just saying it's not Alabama fans. It's going to be.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, it just is playing in a different region, and there's NFL fans in Alabama, obviously, as well. But like the idea that you have Bink playing at college stadium, especially if you're talking about taking a divisional game. Why would you play in Manhattan, Kansas, when you can go 2.5 hours east to play at Arrowhead?
I'm just saying, in lieu of keep adding and adding and adding international games, take the stadium. Say, hey, it works in the NHL. They'll go play at West Point. They'll go play at college. They'll play at Fenway. They'll play wherever. They'll take NHL games and play them at football stadium. The Big House in Michigan had the Red Wings
way more NHL games. That's just for starters.
But that's fun, though. That's exciting.
Sure, the Winter Classic is fun.
Give them that whole weekend,
The reason it works, too, is because NHL, you're playing
Knoxville, Chiefs fans all going down there.
Is with the NHL and the NBA, you play in arenas where it's like 15,000, 16,000. You're expanding it. With going to Manhattan, you're decreasing the attendance by 20,000 people.
Yeah, I mean, it's not to mention the Winter Classic's unique
Unless
because
you go to Alabama.
they're playing outside at Lake Tahoe.
You play in Tennessee or Alabama, you have 30,000 more fans than the Chiefs did in Munich.
True.
Yeah, the NHL, these other leagues are also a little bit different. The NHL is way behind the NFL just in terms of viewership. It's not even close. So they're trying to do a little more gimmicky things. The NFL, it's all about just expanding the game internationally. They have mastered it here in North America in terms of fan loyalty and the dollars that are coming in and TV ratings. So we all understand why they're going international. Do I like it? No, but I think we get it. The one thing that I refuse to agree that they should do is the discussion of ever moving.
I don't even like a playoff game on Peacock.
Yeah, I mean, that's just reality.
In the local markets, it'll still be on the NBC affiliate. So if the Chiefs end up on Peacock, it would be on the NBC affiliate. So people don't have to freak out on that. But if it's not the Chiefs, you're going to miss the game if you don't have Peacock.
Right.
One game. Now, the other's on NBC because they have 3 of them that first weekend you can watch on NBC or Peacock. But there's one that's going to be exclusive Peacock and a regular season game coming up with exclusive on Peacock.
Yeah. I mean, we have college games that are played at NFL stadiums. I don't think if you're in the NFL, why would you go play at a college stadium? You're the NFL. You don't need to go play.
You know my feelings on that.
They're hoping you forget. to cancel the free trial.
And then you get charged.
I'm tired of
$6.99.
adding streaming services. I'm tired of that.
Well, yeah, I mean, we cut the cord, and now you got 20 apps, and it costs very similar amount of money.
I thought it was good with Amazon, and now it's like, oh man, Peacock now, come on. I don't want to see reruns of The Office all night.
Just wait until Netflix starts.
Also, be
doing,
honest, that Peacock game is going to be
20
the NFC South winner. So it's going to be the 8-win Falcons or Saints going up against the Cowboys or Eagles on
And it'll
Peacock.
be in those markets.
Although they're probably not going to put the Cowboys on Peacock. They won't.
That'd be dumb.
That would be a dumb one. So it's got to be somebody else. But the
Unless they want to generate revenue.
NFC South winner, I could see them putting on the Peacock game.
Them and the Packers, the Falcons and the Packers.
Or Nickelodeon.
There is a Super Bowl.
Because they are doing the Super Bowl.
Is there now?
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk about this with Matt Verderame as well. Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated going to join us. Want to get his perspective on, of course, what's going on with the Chiefs, but what he makes of the international expansion in the NFL. That's next here on Cody and Gold.
Chiefs fans, it's Creed Humphrey. Don't miss Cody and Gold weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
You know, we had mentioned the head coach Brandon Staley for the Chargers might be looking for a new job. Well, maybe he can make a shift to IT. IT is the future of Kansas City. Centric can help you make it your future.
Well, and specifically AI, Cody, they're elevating your learning experience over at Centric by implementing, new programs, including artificial intelligence tools like ChatGPT and Bard. They're amplifying your skills, critical thinking, prompt generating, refined messaging. These are all part of the AI program.
You can start seeing those things incorporated into almost every platform you use. Twitter now has an AI generator directly on their homepage, so it's not uncommon for Centric to be smart about this and use those programs that are changing and make sure that you stay as up to date as possible. Want to use that GI Bill, Sally Mae, they'll work with you to make sure that you can find a job after that as well by working with 1,500 local companies. So great to work with.
Centric.com/610. Centric.com/610. Midwest Marine Boat Company is celebrating their new location, now open in Grandview, Missouri. I was just out there a couple weeks ago, and one thing I noticed right away is the additional technicians they now have in their service department. I was talking to some folks there that say, hey, it's great. Some places will tell you, yeah, we can get some work done on your boat, but it's going to be a month. A month, the summertime is already here. You don't have a month to waste of your time on the lake, specifically if you've got that boat you've been waiting to take out for months and months. You know what's nice about Midwest Marine Boat Company? With those extra technicians that they have, they're turning boats around faster. Their service department is just simply more efficient to get you back out on the water. And if you're looking for a brand new boat, come check out the new huge, and I mean huge, indoor showroom at Midwest Marine Boat Company. They have the largest selection of pontoon boats in the area. Also, new lines of Bass Cat, Crown Line, Vexus, and Sea Arc. Midwest Marine Boat Company, the brand new location with a massive indoor showroom at 13800 South 71 Highway in Grandview, Missouri. We take pride in your fun.
How old are elves? Does Mrs. Claus have a first name? Is the fur attached to the top of Santa's boots or the bottom of Santa's pants? Some holiday mysteries may never be solved, but with holiday finding the perfect gift doesn't have to be one of them. The spark of possibility that comes with every ticket versus the disappointment of yet another ugly holiday sweater. The better gift is clear. Give holiday scratchers and draw games from the Missouri Lottery. Play responsibly.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
Well, on the first day of fall, the only thing that was falling was hail, and a lot of it. Don't wait for some hungry, storm-chasing roofer from out of town to tell you your roof's a mess. There's an easier and safer way to know for sure. Online. From locally owned JR & Company. Just visit jrhailcheck.com. Plug in your address and we'll pull a hail report. If there's nothing there, you have hassle-free peace of mind. And if it looks like you got hit, we'll come out and do a free inspection and help with any insurance claim. Veteran-owned JR & Company will never try to sell you a roof you don't need. But if you do need a new roof, remember, a roof from JR comes with a lifetime workmanship warranty. Just visit jrhailcheck.com.
Always better with a roof from JR.
Visit jrhailcheck.com.
We're talking with Dr. David Bach, board-certified urologist at Kansas City Urology Care. Doctor, when it comes to prostate cancer, what makes KCUC the best?
KCUC treats more prostate cancer than anyone else in the metro, and for that matter, in this part of the country.
What does that mean for the patient?
As part of cancer care, a patient will need a urologist, a pathologist, a medical oncologist, and a radiation oncologist. We offer specialists, board-certified specialists, in all those areas on site. It's important to a patient because they want the best possible care with the best possible outcomes with the fewest chances of side effects. Without a doubt, Kansas City Urology Care is the expert in prostate cancer therapy.
See the prostate cancer experts, Kansas City Urology Care. At KCUC, you see the best in KC. To make an appointment, visit appointments.kcurology.com.
Fill your game day cooler with the refreshing taste of Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Smooth, real brewed tea with a 5% kick of alcohol. Look for the bright yellow cans. Twisted Tea. Keep it twisted.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly. For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Do you have a game plan for COVID-19? Prescription oral treatments must be taken within the first 5 days of symptoms, even if mild. If you have a high risk factor, ask your doctor if treatment is right for you. Visit treatcovid19.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa.
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist. Ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios. Subscribe to the 610 Sports KC YouTube page for exclusive video content from Cody and Gold on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs and your home for Royals baseball. 610 Sports Radio. KCSP Kansas City. WDAF HD2 Liberty. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
11 o'clock hour, Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Drew Nixon, Jay Binkley is in for Cody. Cody's out celebrating Taylor Swift's birthday today. He'll be back with us tomorrow on the show. We're headed out to Arrowhead at 11:45. Going to hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, along with Chris Jones. And as Drew was talking to me during the break, it'll be interesting just to see. I'm sure Chris will be asked about his interaction with Joe Colin on the sideline. But I'll go back to what Kling told us, that he has seen on the sideline numerous times. That's just how their relationship is. They're
at least 3 times.
Yeah, they're intense guys. They get into it. Karlaftis is laughing on the bench right next to him. So I don't think it's a big deal, but I'm assuming somebody will ask Chris Jones about that as well. Don't forget, coming up on Friday, January 12th, it's our 3rd annual playoff Pilsner release. January 12th, starting at 6, up at Cinder Block Brewery. Dusty's going to be broadcasting live starting at 6. There's going to be a food truck. The entire 610 staff's going to be out there. We've had a blast with this the first 2 years. This is year number 3. And kind of kick off the postseason run. And this year, as I said yesterday, it might be the night before a Chiefs playoff game because of the current positioning they're in. And let's go out to the hotline, though, and get a national perspective on what's going on with the Chiefs. And then I do want to talk a little bit It's always good to have Matt join us here on the show. I did want to start with the Patriots for a second, Matt, because you've got Bill Belichick today being asked about his future, and he basically said, hey, we're on to Kansas City. There's no way Belichick's back in New England, right?
No. I mean, at this point, he's going to be 72 years old. They're going to have to draft a quarterback in the first round. And the reality is, as great as Belichick has been for decades, do you really want to start with a new quarterback with a 72-year-old coach when you know that at best is a year-to-year proposition? That's number one. Number two, look, I think with Kraft and Belichick at this point, you got to also keep in mind, Robert Kraft is getting to the point. He's going to turn this franchise over to his son, Jonathan Kraft, pretty soon. Jonathan Kraft does not have near the loyalty to Belichick that Robert Kraft does. So that's another factor in this. And the third, that team's awful. They're 3-10. They need a complete reboot. I mean, this isn't, hey, get a quarterback and we're going to go 13-4 next year. This is, we need to completely rebuild this thing, which starts with getting Belichick out of there in the Department of Personnel. Well, Belichick's not going to be thrilled with the idea of being booted out of one area of the team. So, yes, I think in the end, it finishes with him going elsewhere for next year.
There's going to be, potentially, 8, 9, 10 openings. We already got a couple of them right now. So if he gets traded, what's the favorite spot right now if I were to make you pick where he ends up?
Well, a lot of people a lot of people in the league think that Washington is a very interesting place because they have new ownership. That owner will spend a ton of money. He has shown that. He's the owner of the 76ers, of the New Jersey Devils. He has spent a fortune with both those teams. And then on top of that, Belichick grew up in Maryland. He grew up down the road from Washington. So as you go there, maybe it depends on how much you like Sam Howell or doesn't like him. But I think Washington is probably one of the destinations to watch.
How much, Matt, do you think that the chasing Don Shula means to him? The 27 or so wins he needs to pass him for he's already got the postseason record for wins, but the all-around wins. Don Shula, pretty critical about Spygate, and he's been critical about the Patriots in the past when he was alive. How much do you think that Belichick wants to win and build a team, and how much do you think he just wants to beat Shula?
I think that it is a side bonus of continuing to coach. I don't think he would coach solely because he wants to beat out Don Shula. I think he would coach because it's his life's work. And what else is there, for him? Now, obviously, there's family and there's leisure and everything else. But he might look at it like, hey, I can have that in my downtime. I want to still coach for 2-3 more years. The hard thing is, and it's a weird thing to say about Belichick, he's a 6-time Super Bowl winner. Like, if you're a team that can't win right away, is it worth bringing him in? Maybe if you're like Washington, you go, look, you know what? He'll change the culture, and that alone is enough reason to bring the guy in. Okay, totally fair. But, I could see some other teams saying, yeah, he'd be amazing, but he's going to be there for 2 to 3 years. And, there is going to be that question, fair or not, can he win without Brady? I mean, if you look at his career, there's a pretty stark difference in win percentage with and without Tom Brady. Now, I think if you gave him a good team, he could be a really, really good coach still, but there is going to be that looming question.
We're talking to Matt Verderam of Sports Illustrated. Now, with the Chiefs, we know they're coming off a couple losses in a row, and now the number one seed path is a lot trickier for them. It's not impossible. When you look at this football team right now and how they are playing, I mean, we had you on, I think, in December. It's the same.
You are what you are at some point. I know Travis and Jason Kelsey did the New Heights podcast this morning. I was listening to some of it this morning where Travis was essentially saying, hey, look, we know a lot of this stuff is all self-inflicted. I don't disagree with it. Mm-hmm. It's not wrong. At the same point, okay, but it's been self-inflicted now for 3 months. I mean, is it ever going to change? This is a team that is top 5 in turnovers, number 1 in the league in drops, number 1 in the league in offensive line penalties. I mean, this isn't like this was all early on in the year and they've really cleaned up a lot of it. They've played 13 games this year. They've had 2 games that haven't turned the football over. I mean, this has been an epidemic. And, the Kadarius Toney penalty, look, I get it. A lot of Chiefs fans think it was selective enforcement. My feeling on that is I liken it to speeding. If I get on the freeway and I go 90 and a 70 every day this week, I'm not going to get pulled over every time. But you know what? At some point, I'm getting pulled over. That's what's going to happen. And I can't tell the officer, hey, excuse me, I drove 90 all week this week, and now you're pulling me over? Yeah, don't go 90 in a 70. You won't get pulled. I mean, the fact that he lined up all game long incorrectly and that other teams do it, it doesn't mean that you can't get called for doing it. Now, it happens at a really opportune time, but the Chiefs have found ways to beat themselves all year. I guess the positive is the conference is not good. And if you told me, hey, the Chiefs, let's just say they're a 2 seed, they're going to play really well by their standards for 3 straight games, they're probably going to the Super Bowl. I don't think that anybody in the AFC is going to beat them if they play well. But
who do you consider the top team, though, in the AFC? Because Chiefs sitting here at the 3rd seed. Okay, they're 8-5. They have the easy schedule. They have a 29th easy schedule remaining. Cincinnati's still sitting there, and they've been winning. But they have an easy schedule. It's not a laundry list of great quarterbacks that they have the next 4. And then the Ravens, they have the toughest schedule in the National Football League. But, all around, when you look at scoring offense, scoring defense, clearly the Ravens, even though the Bills were probably the best team on paper that they've played all year.
If you told me that the Chiefs would play at least a B-plus game, I think the Chiefs are still the best team in the AFC. And I don't even think it's particularly close. I mean, I think Baltimore, for me, right or wrong, I've seen this movie before with Baltimore. I mean, we have done this for how many years? I almost honestly, not to give everybody a shock that's driving, I feel like the Ravens are like the 90s Chiefs, where you just watch them and every year you're like, yeah, they're really good. And then they get the playoffs and you're like, oh, actually, no, they're not, because they're really one-dimensional and you can shut down their passing attack. And if you do that and you get ahead of them, it's over. I feel like they're very similar to them. The Dolphins, I don't know. I mean, can the Dolphins win one game against a team that matters before we start putting them in the Super Bowl? Jacksonville, I have no faith in. They can't stop anybody from throwing the ball. Buffalo, I mean, for all the talk about how the Chiefs are self-inflicted wounds, left and right, I mean, my God, Buffalo is the king of that this year. And I thought watching that game with the Chiefs, I mean, the Chiefs beat them in every statistical category you possibly could in that game, except for the fact they turned the ball over twice and they took a killer penalty. I do think the Chiefs are the best team. I don't even really care if they have to go on the road in a playoff game. That's fine. They're better away from Arrowhead this year than not. But to me, it all comes down to, do the Chiefs just beat themselves? And that has obviously been a huge issue all season long.
Matt, when we look a little bit further out away from this particular season, Bink, earlier we were discussing just looking ahead to the offseason. With the way L'Jarius Sneed has performed this year, I mean, he's been incredible, shutting down just about every single number one wide receiver. Is a franchise tag actually in play for him in the offseason if they can't get something done?
Yeah, I think it's funny. I've been asked this question, God, I can't even tell you how many times about this offseason with them, because it's tricky. They have a lot of defensive players who are coming up for new money, and you're talking about Tranquil and Edwards and Gay and on and on, and then of course Jones and Sneed. I think with Veach, it's almost 2 categories, right? Like Tranquil and Edwards and Willie Gay. If you want to resign those guys, assuming they're willing to come back, those are not going to be huge numbers. Even Gay, very good player, but he's not a sack guy. You're not going to be paying him a fortune. Jones and Sneed, I think you pick one. I think you just pick one. Who are you going to pay? And if I'm the Chiefs, listen, Chris Jones is probably walking into Canton one day. I'm paying Sneed at this point. Like, you have the best tandem corners in the NFL. Sneed is in his mid-20s. He's an ascending player. Chris Jones is 30. I'm not saying he can't have 2 or 3 great more years. He could very well do that. And by the way, I wouldn't just let him walk. I'd tell him, hey, look, man, if you can go out and get $30 million a year, God bless. Go with God. Go get it. But if you can't, and nobody's willing to offer you more than $24, $25 million, call us. I mean, the Chiefs are going to have a ton of cap space. The question with Kansas City is going to be, how do they allot it, and how confident do they feel in giving a longer-term deal to a guy like Jones when they know that Humphrey's got to get paid, Bolt might have to get paid, McDuffie eventually will get paid, and Karloff, like, you can't pay everybody. I think Sneed, though, right now, for me, is probably the top priority based on the way he's played this season.
At this point, would you say that's their most pressing need? You good with Wanye Morris now at left tackle? In the first round, are you saying wide receiver or bust for this team?
I mean, anybody who's watched this team, I don't know how you could say it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, they're basically trotting the three of us out at times, it feels like, at receiver. I mean, it has been, whether it's running the wrong routes, not being able to catch the ball, and quite honestly, I mean, just a complete lack of, any accountability whatsoever in that. In publicly. I'm not saying that privately in the locker room, it's totally different, but publicly, I mean, I spent the first couple of days after that Chiefs-Bills game saying, well, where's Kadarius Toney's quote after that game? Why isn't he at the locker? Where's he? Where's MVS been most of this year in front of his locker? Although I know he got into some hot water, so to speak, for being in front of his locker a couple days ago. They need a guy in that room, in the receiver room, who's been a guy like a Travis Kelce, who will stand in front of his locker most of the time. A guy obviously like a Mahomes. A guy like Chris Jones, who is not mandated to speak and speaks all the time. I know a lot of people say, well, you're just saying it because you're media. No, there's a certain level of, hey, look, I'm willing to stand on my game and my team's game and be there in the tough moments too. I think they need a veteran for something like that. I think a guy like, everybody talks about T. Higgins. I think Tyler Boyd would be really good for something like bring in a guy who's going to raise the floor of the room and then go draft a kid in the first round. I think they have to. Doesn't mean they don't have any other needs. But if they can't solve that need, we're going to just watch this whole thing play out again in 2024.
Matt Verderam of Sports Illustrated, always good to have you on the show, man. Appreciate the insight. And it sounds like we're getting another international game in Brazil in the NFL, too, coming up.
Yep, absolutely. They keep expanding. They're not going to stop. So I'll get used to the international games.
There you go. All right, Matt Verderam, he joins us here on Cody and Gold. And, maybe at some point in time, I think you'll be making your way to Brazil for a Chiefs game in the next 15 years.
Well, what I want, because I want the stadium series, but I'll go to Brazil. I'd go watch there. Chiefs had to get that marketing area now, because they have Switzerland, Austria, Germany.
You can still be the away team, though.
Well, there's like 2-year deals. So they can still give them Brazil.
You could still be an away team or whatever. Good stuff from Verderam and talking about just where things stand. The Snead part is interesting. I brought that up because Nate Taylor yesterday was in studio with us, and he was saying that he thinks L'Jarius Sneed could just be the franchise tag guy, where if they think they want to get some other stuff done, could they just tag Snead and buy themselves one more year? The tag number on a corner is like 16 or 18 million. It's not 30 million or something like it would be for Chris Jones.
It's tough. The A.J. Brown, 1 catch. Tyreek Hill with the 862. Justin Jefferson, 3 for 28. He's the guy, again, this is why I don't care about his penalties. Someone asked me, do you constantly know they're there? And McDuffie, the McDuffie tandem with Snead, when they're on number 1 receivers, just the constant they're agitators.
Yeah.
And that's what they need.
The concern during camp a little bit was the knee of Snead. Like, is this going to be a lingering thing? And knock on wood, it has not. Here we are.
It's why Connor was drafted, to be honest with you.
And Snead's been healthy. Again, people are freaking out as I say that. But, yeah, there was a concern heading into the season. Would a knee thing be a problem? And it hasn't. And
100% why Connor was drafted.
Sure. And that's why I think you probably feel way more confident now about giving an extension if you don't do the tag to Snead, because the knee wasn't a lingering thing like maybe you were concerned about. Yeah, L'Jarius has just been awesome this year for this football team. We'll get to Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes out at Arrowhead at a brief second, because we know the Royals yesterday signed Seth Lugo to be a starting pitcher in this rotation. Last year he proved he's a starter. He had a career high in innings, under 3.6 ERA for a third straight year, top 20 strikeout to walk ratio. We can talk more about Seth Lugo again. I like the move. It's not the last move they should make by any means, but it does improve this baseball team. The one move I don't want them to make, I know we all love Zach Greinke. He's a future Hall of Famer, legendary piece. The Cy Young year was an incredible summer for all of us in Kansas City. But I saw that Zach Greinke reportedly is telling teams that he wants to play in 2024, and he's open to a contract. I know he's 31 strikeouts away from, 3,000, right?
But these are big.
But, man.
Milestones.
All that said, you can't be telling me you're serious about putting together an overall better rotation if you actually brought back Zach Greinke. If he wants to be a bullpen piece or something, that's a different conversation. I don't know if he wants to do that. You can't be telling me you're actually bringing back Zach Greinke. It's time to move on. It just is. If he wants to keep pitching, that's his own deal. That's his own decision to make. But as the Royals side, no, it is time to not go down that road anymore and bringing in someone just because of what they've done in the past.
Like finding your identity, finding out who you are. And when Matheny was here, the younger guys didn't speak up because they didn't think it was their place, and they didn't speak up. Like the Bobby Witt Jr. stuff, he waited till the next year for that, and Vinny, speaking up. But it's not time for Zach Greinke. That time was, last year. You got these younger guys and developing them, and you have a veteran guy that's going to be in the Hall of Fame like Zach Greinke. That was the time for that. This is not the time for that. This is the time for winning with the younger core for this team and not bringing in the guys that have done it in Major League Baseball. He imparted his wisdom already. Now it's time to take that. There was a need for it, but that need isn't now. The need was here, but not now. And it shouldn't be here. Maybe it is, but it shouldn't be.
It'd be interesting to see. I mean, is somebody else willing to give him an opportunity still in a rotation? I just hope it's not the Royals, frankly. And maybe thought process is different as we go. But, this story came out like 10 minutes before they signed Seth Lugo, which I think, again, is a positive step. Now go out and trade for another pitcher and fill out this rotation. But Zach Greinke is not the answer to this. Not at all. You're not serious about your rotation if he's in it.
They're loading up with Texas Rangers, aren't they? With Reagan's last year, then you got two relievers from the Rangers this year. Why not?
Yeah,
it's
I do
not
like
a team
what
right
they've
now.
done.
It's exactly what they're doing. All Rangers.
No, that's very,
except
very
for Padre and Lugo, but still the Chiefs. The
Padres,
Royals love the
I
Padres.
think, unfortunately, the Padres owner has passed away. We know that in the last month or so. But they don't they're kind of broke. They're trading away Soto.
They win the offseason every year.
They tried to get a loan reportedly for $100 million. The bank said no, we'll only give you $50. Like that's not a good sign.
The TV contract.
That's not a good sign for a baseball team. And if they can't get a loan, talking about the Padres out there.
Trash of the day.
All right, let's get to it. This is a sports-related trash of the day, Bink. Usually it's not, but this happened last night in the NBA in Chicago. So the Denver Nuggets are on the road. Jokic, coming off a championship, MVP. People go to see Jokic play. Makes sense, right? You're going to buy a ticket to go see some of the best. Makes sense. Last night, early in the game, second quarter, listen to this. There's a sequence in which he gets ejected from the game.
Hyundai Palisade versus Toyota Highland.
That's an advertisement. That's awesome. We'll see if we can get the actual audio from the play-by-play call.
This will be a technical. Oh, they threw Jokic out of the game. I think they're throwing Jokic out of the game. Musa Dagger making. That's incredible. Oh, my goodness. Really, are they? That's the signal he gets. Out of the game. This is absolutely ridiculous.
So the announcers go on and on and on. It's Serbian Heritage Night in Chicago. And fans paid good money to see Jokic, not the refs. He didn't punch someone like Draymond Green did last night. He said something to an official that sounds like wasn't even that bad, by the way, after the post-game stuff and reporting came out. And the fans are booing, even though it's in Chicago, they're booing that the opposing player got thrown out because you want to see the best. This is another example of officials forgetting that nobody is paying to watch you officiate a sporting event. That was ridiculous last night.
It's when the officials try to be the show. And again, you're trying to market the sport. I mean, you're never going to catch the NFL, we know that, but make your sport popular, and you got a guy that people are coming in. Your sport. Understand who and what you're doing.
Well, and it's not like because the rule in the NBA is you get one technical is like your warning, essentially. Then the second you get ejected. He hadn't gotten a first technical. It was right away. So.
Second quarter.
I know.
Oh, I would be pissed. You spend good money on some seats, NBA games, especially in Chicago, not cheap.
This is agenda-based.
Especially if your main reason is there to celebrate Serbian Heritage Night and see one of the best Serbian player of all time, one of the best in the. I mean, it's Not a good. I mean,
it's
even
just another example, man, of officials forgetting that they're not the show. That's not why people are going and watching. We don't watch sporting events because, man, I want to see what the officials are going to do tonight.
You didn't go watch Shepherds?
The clip that you played was from the Nuggets broadcast. The Bulls was saying the same thing.
Yes.
The Bulls were like, "What's going on?" You know,
everybody universally.
Oh yeah, all over.
Bulls fans
were booing. Yeah,
were booing the opposing player getting ejected. Like, it wasn't like he did. And then later in the night, Draymond ends up punching somebody and obviously got thrown out of the game.
That was bad.
Yeah, Draymond, it's weird. Most people can control their limbs. He seems to claim that they just, sometimes it gets away from him in a basketball
Yusuf
game.
Nurkic after the game said, "I think that brother needs help."
Yeah, it's.
I mean, it
Draymond's
happens all the time.
Always having problems. Draymond is always having some problems. But yeah, Jokic, that was just absurd last night to kick him out of the game. Felt bad for people that spent a couple $100 probably on tickets to watch the guy play.
Yeah, defending NBA champions, the tickets tend to be, for the nosebleeds, like $45, $50 instead of just your typical 10 to 15.
In the last 3 years. I mean, it makes a difference.
That is the trash of the day. Up next, Bink and Chris Sunocera, you guys got your Character Concerns podcast, a full round one mock. Oh, it's already out there. I'm curious to see who you have going to the Chiefs. Plus, we're going to hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes out at Arrowhead.
Cody and Gold.
People always call us like a bleak show. The idea of you having to come on the air the next day and being like, Cody died in that blimp crash is hilarious to me. That's objectively funny.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
Centric is always training for the technology of today, and AI is no exception.
Gold, I got sucked into the Chat GPT game because I'm interested in it. And it's great when you know these companies like Centric immediately know that AI is important and you want to start learning it.
You can amplify your skills over at Centric when it comes to AI, critical thinking, prompt generating, refined messaging, all part of the curriculum.
Don't miss out on an incredible career in IT and a budding industry like AI. Go to Centric.com/610, talk to our guy Russ Mondry, and tell him that Cody and Gold sent you.
Mizzou Tiger men's basketball returns to the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City, Sunday, December 17th, to take on Seton Hall. Are going fast. Visit TMobileCenter.com to secure your tickets today. Great seats still available. Sunday, December 17th, 4 p.m. at the T-Mobile Center. Don't miss your Mizzou Tigers in their return to Kansas City. MIZ.
Hey everybody, this is Andrew Filipponi here, bringing you the parlay of the day, brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. All the lines are out for Week 15, so let's assemble a winning parlay. I love the Bears in Cleveland getting 3 points. Their defense has been dominant. I think Tommy DeVito will come back down to earth in New Orleans this week. Give me the Saints laying 5.5. The Packers should bounce back against the Bucks. The line is only Green Bay -3. And my upset pick of the week, the Panthers getting their second win of the season over Atlanta at home. A $10 bet on this 4-leg parlay pays over $165. That's it for the parlay of the day. Brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app today and make every moment more with America's #1 sports book.
21 plus in President, Kansas. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Hey guys, B-Dub here from Fesco in the Morning. You hear me talking about it all the time. I'm here with my girl Leanne, 119th and Metcalf location manager. She is literally saving my life one day at a time, 1 pound at a time. And let me tell you, I couldn't.
Strong accountability. So coming into the centers, meeting with your counselor anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes out of your day is so important. Keeps you accountable also for those plateaus. So we want to be able to catch any slowdowns when it happens.
Slim for Life's counseling is what sets you apart from every other program available. Call today to set up your free consultation. Right now, when you tell them that you're here for B-Dub, you get the lowest prices of the year at their year-end savings spectacular. Call 833-SLIM today. That's the number you need to call, 833-754-6863, or hit them online at slim4life.com. All services included, exclusive of product.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then
They were getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically like hang me completely out to dry.
he had to do something.
That's when I reached amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-935-7144. 800-935-7144. 800-935-7144.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. Missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets won'twait.com. That's GA won'twait.com.
A holiday message from Jackson Hewitt.
'Twas the yikes before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring, except Larry. See, the stockings weren't hung by the chimney with care, 'cause Larry's wallet was empty with no time to spare. So he went to Jackson Hewitt for a holiday loan, got money so fast he rejoiced and went home. Avoid the yikes before Christmas. Go to Jackson Hewitt before it's too late. Get up to $1,000 fast, minus the wait.
Early refund advance offered to eligible clients. Application required. Finance charge applies. Loans by Republic Bank. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Hi, Discover. It's Jennifer Coolidge, and I just want to thank you for the cash back on my groceries.
No problem. Discover Cashback Debit gives everyone cash back. Anything else I can help with?
Do you like asparagus sorbet?
Eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashback debit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
Cloudy in the morning, sun and clouds in the afternoon, and a high of 53.
Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Visit eatandys.com to find the location nearest you. Top your day with a smile.
With a smile at Andy's, top your day. With a smile at Andy's, top your day.
I love s'mores, so I made our new Andy's Frozen Custard S'mores Jackhammer just for fall.
Chiefs Kingdom. This is Mitch Holtis, and welcome into the Chiefs Red Half Hour on Cody and Gold. Every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner, the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
All right, coming up in about 15 minutes, we'll head out to Arrowhead. Going to hear from Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Chris Jones, right here on your official broadcast partner for the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio. Now, Bink, you and Chris Unocero have been doing the Character Concerns podcast. Hopefully, you guys have been checking that out each and every week on the Odyssey app, 610sports.com, anywhere you get your podcast. You guys have been doing great work, putting in a lot of time and effort on that. And I'm glad it's actually perfect timing that you're filling in today, because you guys already just put out a first-round mock draft. So I'm curious. I purposely did not look at this before, because I want you to tell me. I want to see what my reaction is to who you end up having the Chiefs take. But how did the first round mock? Caleb Williams go one?
He did. Okay. We still ended up going Caleb Williams. Then Drake May. Drake May to the Patriots at 2. We went
Patriots.
Went back-to-back quarterback. Because we wanted to see this. It was just kind of a test. All right. So when you look at all the mock drafts, which Chris and I have looked at a ton of them, Matt Meller just put his out as well on ESPN. So how many quarterbacks went? Because the record's 6 in 1983. How many wide receivers went at 8? Because it matters how many quarterbacks go. Because if you're drafting 32 or 31, all of a sudden you're drafting 24 or 25. Then you throw in offensive linemen, some areas the Chiefs don't need, some edge rushers, and all of a sudden there are 19 players in front of them to get a receiver. We want to know how many receivers. Because I think this is a record amount. The record is 7, set in 2004. So we wanted to see, when you look at teams' needs, which direction they might go. kind of their tendencies and what they're doing, how many receivers were going to go in the first round, meaning, okay, the Chiefs are at the bottom. They're going to need to move up.
Right.
Can they stay put and get a receiver that they need? Chris and I did alternate picks, but we did agree on the pick.
Okay, so ultimately, how many wide receivers went?
8.
8 did go.
We set a record, yeah.
Okay, so 8 went.
Which is crazy because Matt Miller has 8 as well.
I'll start on the back end. So where were the Chiefs picking in this mock?
The Chiefs are picking 25th in this Pro Football Focus simulator.
I hope that's wrong. But let's just.
We couldn't grab exactly who we wanted. The other teams, picked as well.
Right.
So who's available?
All right, we can work backwards. So who did you guys end up selecting then for the first mock you've done?